Hi everyone. Welcome to CSE 200, the Survey of International Education. This is an online asynchronous class, so we're going to be using Discussion Board to deliver content and go over everything. This is the first sort of just introduction, how to use Blackboard, how to use all the tools lecture. So you'll probably want to keep revisiting this as the semester goes on. The way that I record all the lessons is through a screencast with VoiceOver. I do use Prezi as opposed to, say, PowerPoint or another presentation software, just because I've gotten used to it and I just really like it. So the way that I have to deliver the content with that is through a sort of screencast way with that VoiceOver. So you should be able to access those files in Blackboard throughout the course of the semester. What I want to do here is just go over the how-tos of the course, due dates. I'm going to go over the syllabus and show you where everything is and how to access everything so that you can go ahead and start thinking about that when class starts. Officially, the start date is June 2nd. This is, of course, an online class, so how you spend your time and how you do everything is really up to you, but this is just where you'll come if you want to look at anything and figure out how to do stuff. So I have the home page of our Blackboard site pulled up right here. This is where you're going to find, of course, this is the instructor's view here, so yours is going to look a little different than mine, but for the most part, they should be pretty consistent across the two of them. This first page is where, you're going to find all your announcements, and I will probably use the announcements function pretty frequently. If there's anything that I need to alert you to, I'll let you know of due dates. I'll let you know of, if there's new stuff that's been posted. This is where you'll come to find that. Usually what I'll do when I create an announcement, I will also send an email immediately. That might mean your email is going to get blown up. I apologize for that. I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page and that you all have everything that you need for the semester there. So first off, I'll start with the announcements here. And you'll see that I've already sent you guys a link to the textbook. So this is going to be the main text that we're going to use for the first part of the semester. I want to alert you to this first off so that you can see what the textbook looks like, and then I'll go and visit the syllabus more in detail. So here's what the textbook looks like. You will need the second edition. We used to use the first edition. It's really similar, but it has enough distinctions that I think it's really important that you use the second edition. Hopefully you guys have already gotten that and have been engaging with it a little bit. If not, I think at least for the first week or so, you might be able to access. You'll see here that you can access, I think the first chapter you can look at before it stops giving you that preview. So you'll see that the first chapter is up here, so you can go ahead and start looking at that if you don't have the textbook yet, but you will need it really, really soon because we start with this right off the bat. We're going to spend the first, I believe, week and a half. So when classes officially commence on June 2nd, we'll be using that through that week and, well, really weekend, and through the next week, and then you'll have the first examination. I know that this is a lot, but just remember that this is a summer class. So the way I've tried to structure what's expected is really based on a typical Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, hour-and-a-half meeting. So you can expect that amount of work that you would expect of another summer class. So here's the textbook. Again, the link is on the announcements page, so you should be able to access that pretty easily. So I will go through and, like I said, I'll pull up the syllabus so that you guys can see that, and I'll show you where to find everything. But again, here's that announcement page. The syllabus should be posted in the syllabus section. If you go over to this this section over here. This is going to be what you're primarily going to use for the whole semester. So here's the syllabus. If you go into course materials, you'll see all of the learning modules that we'll use for the whole semester. The welcome and introduction is where, I'll go over that here in just a second, but I do want to pull up the syllabus so that you can see all of that stuff, and we'll go over that. Okay, let me download this so that you guys can see it. Okay, here is our syllabus. Again, my name is Ashley Anderson, and I have a link here. You can find this link over in Blackboard as well under course materials in the welcome and introduction section. This is me. This is my homepage on our University of Tennessee Department of Educational Psychology and Counseling. This should be updated probably within the next little bit because some stuff has changed about me, but you'll see that. So if you need to get in touch with me, this email address is the best way to reach me. This phone number is going to end up being outdated because I'm actually moving my office. Right now, my office is 418 Claxton Complex. My new office that I'm going to be moving in probably after the end of this course. So I should be here in 418 if you need to reach me. I know this is an online class and some of y'all go home for the summer, so you might not be on campus to come by if you need to. But if you are in town and you just want to come by and ask any questions in person, then you can do that at 418 Claxton Complex. And reaching me by email is probably the best. So that's me. Let me pull up the syllabus again. There's me again. Here is the syllabus, and this is going to be your best friend probably this semester. This is where I have everything here. Again, this phone number, it's not working right now just because I'm about to change offices, but it should be working soon. I do have office hours 2 to 4 on Mondays. I'm always available by appointment as well. I'm going to go ahead and add in here my cell phone number in case you need to reach me that way. You can text me something if a due date is coming up and something's going on. Email is probably your best bet. I'll get an email about as fast as I get a text message. So, but that's there anyway. I'm not going to read the syllabus to you. We're all adults here. I figure that you can go through and read everything yourself. But I do want to talk about some of these major high points, including the way that your grade's going to be assessed, as well as the major assignments that we're going to be doing this semester. So again, Globalization of Education Introduction. Here are the major learning objectives and the course requirements. The grading policy. So your grade is going to be based on 2 examinations. One examination is going to be due after next week. I can give you the specific due date when I go down here on the syllabus. But there's going to be 2 examinations. The first one is only going to cover Joel Spring's Globalization of Education, the first 4 chapters. So hopefully, like I said, you have that and you've been engaging with that because we're going to jump into it pretty fast. I have already posted the study guide for that, and I'll show you where to find it here in a second. I will be releasing the exam probably 48 hours before it's due. The essay question you'll get beforehand so that you can go ahead and do that on your own time whenever you're ready to do that. You just have to submit it by the due date. But the multiple choice questions, there's going to be 20 of them for each of the exams. Those will be timed, and you're gonna have 30 minutes to do those, and those are going to cover the textbook as well. Again, I'll go over the study guides when they get put up, but you'll be able to see all of that stuff. Because this is an asynchronous online course, I'm using Blackboard, the discussion board function, for us to communicate with one another. This is going to be worth 100 points. We're going to do a group activity, which I'll explain below, as well as a major group report. That's going to be worth 100 points, but this is really the breakdown of your grade, so you can look at that. I do a point system as opposed to a strictly, A or A minus. I use points I don't do averages. So if you want to know how your grade's assessed, this is really going to be how it's done, is through these points. Classroom protocol, again, it's an online class, so Blackboard is our classroom, so you'll need to go over this tutorial video that I'll post on our homepage if you want more about how this course will run and the tools. Attendance, I measured that by your presence on the site as well as your contributions to the site. It's really important for you guys to log in as frequently as possible. I'd say you'll want to log in daily to make sure you're not missing anything. And, as I mentioned before, I will send out announcements on major due dates and things that you'll need to be thinking about. But you'll want to keep coming back time and time again. And part of that is going to be due to, trying to facilitate that discussion component as well as working together on those group projects. So I can't overstate enough that you need to be actively participating. I can gauge how much you come to the class and what you do when you log in on Blackboard. So know that I can see that if you don't log in hardly at all and then just come and post a bunch of stuff, at one time, then that's not participating. That's not a ton of presence as well as contribution. So just remember that I can look at all of that stuff. So again, if you've never taken an online course before, it can take some getting used to, and it will get easy to forget about the course. So just try and set up a daily habit of logging in, checking stuff, and making sure that that you've got what you need to get. And below I post, a tentative study schedule, work schedule. I'll go over that here in a minute, but, just know that it's best to set up a pattern of logging in daily. Again, I check email really, really frequently, so feel free to do that. If you have more technical questions or anything specific to the course, you will see under this Welcome and Introduction section, under this course module here, I'll go back to it so that you can see. If you click on the Welcome and Introduction, I have a link to a discussion board that has a question and answer section. This is really a place for more technical questions. If you have a question about something, then probably your peers do too. So don't feel weird or annoying or whatever if you feel like you need to post a question there. It's something that probably other students are having questions about too. So go ahead and do that so that everybody can have the information that they're going to need to get to. Deadlines and due dates, I have those posted. I'll go over them here in a second. And then the overall schedule, like I said, make sure you keep coming. University civility, you can look at all of this. Academic integrity, I have had students who tend to want to plagiarize, and I'll talk more about how you can avoid that. But just make sure that you're paying attention to this. I have had students for the group projects, they'll essentially recreate for the second group project what they did in the first one. That's plagiarism. Also, when you're doing the discussion boards or you're responding to the essay questions, you're probably going to want to go back to the lectures to see how I've delivered that content for your review. You can't just copy and paste from the lectures and post that in the in your exams or in your papers. So make sure that you're thinking about that too, because that right there is plagiarism, and I just don't want you to do that. So the specific learning activities, again, there's 2 examinations. The first one is going to be on the Globalization of Education textbook, chapters 1 through 4 only, and class material. The essay question you'll get beforehand, and then the multiple choice is going to be, you'll have 20 questions, and you'll have 30 minutes to do it. Once you start it, you have 30 minutes. So make sure that you prepare adequately beforehand, which is why, again, I give you the study guide at the very beginning of the semester. But there are specific due dates that are listed below on the schedule. It's going to be due at 11:59 p.m. on those due dates. I will show you on Blackboard where to find that. I have separate modules for each of the exams. So for example, examination 1. Here's actually the essay question. It's not going to be available, but I can give that to you sooner. it's listed on the study guide as well. But if you go to the study guide, you'll be able to click that and you'll be able to see this is the study guide for the midterm. And then I have listed, let me pull this up so you can see it. Here's the essay question right here, so you'll have that beforehand. These are the major concepts that you're going to need to know for the multiple choice portion of the examination 1. There's going to be 20 questions. They're 2.5 points each. So again, you'll have 30 minutes to do that. And again, once it starts, then you have the 30 minutes. So you need to make sure that you study beforehand, because you're not going to have time to, go back to notes or go back to lectures or anything like that. So here's the rubric for the essay question. So you already have that from the very beginning. You can start working on that just whenever. And I'll share with you where this comes from when we get to that in the lecture. But there's that. And you'll see that there's a separate module as well for examination 2. So you'll be able to see all of that when that gets there. I typically give you 48 hours before the exam's due date to start it. You'll have, the essay question just whenever you want to write it. So you just need to go into SafeAssign to submit it when it's ready. And I'll show you how to do that closer to time. I believe it's already up here. If you go to assignments, you should be able to. It's not available right now just because it's not going to go live until 48 hours before it's due. But you'll go in, and this is where you'll start that. And then you'll have a place. I'll add a place in for you to submit it to SafeAssign, and I'll tell you more about that when it's there. It's not up there just yet, but I'll share that with you when it becomes available. So that's how you take the exams, and that's where those are going to be located. Going back to the syllabus, again, the discussion board is probably the biggest way that we're going to communicate with one another. There's going to be 4 discussion boards, 25 points each. The way that I've divvied this out is I've designated 10 points for the original post, and then I give 10 points for your peer responses, and then I reserve 5 points for my overall impressions of your participation and quality. So again, going back to a student that logs in regularly and is engaging with peers frequently, they're probably going to get more of those 5 points and probably more of these other points as well than, say, someone who only logs in and just says, yes, I agree, or no, I don't agree, and all of that stuff. So the original posts need to be submitted by 11:59 p.m. on the due dates listed below. In addition, you'll have to respond to at least, let me emphasize that. So, I really think you should be responding to probably more than these 4. This is designed to be a discussion, not just a, busy work. So I'm hoping that you'll be able to go and engage more than those 4 times. But you need to respond to at least 4 other student postings per discussion forum within the 48 hours of the original due date. And I have that all listed. Here's some qualities that I look for. One thing to keep in mind, I say that students should limit their original posts to approximately 200 words. If you go over that, that's fine. I'm not going to penalize you. If you go way, way over that and, are getting repetitive or, whatever, then, you don't want to do that. But it should be around 200 words. And that's going to dictate those first 10 points of the of each discussion board's 25 points. And then each response to 4 of your peers of approximately 50 words each for a total of 200 points is going to be worth another of those 10 points. And then again, I reserve that 5 to assess the overall quality in your participation. And I'll be engaging with you a lot in the discussion board as well. So if I have a question about something, or if this makes me think of something else, then I'll direct you to that, and I'll be engaging in the discussion as well. One thing I want to point out under this welcome and introduction portion, I also include a more detailed list of the discussion board protocol. This is a little bit more detailed description of how I'm looking at these and how I'm going to assess these. And it also includes a list of all of those. I'll let you read this in your own time. It recreates some of what's in the syllabus, but elaborates a little bit more on exactly where your grade's going to be coming from. And know that I typically do wait a little bit after the discussion boards have been due to assign a grade, just to make sure that you're done. I don't want to limit your responses. And I don't want you to think that once you get a grade that you should stop responding, because this should be really an iterative process where you keep coming back. But here is all of the prompts. So you have those from the very beginning. How you spend your time in between the due dates is really up to you, but I think it works best to go, through each one and try and keep track with the rest of the class as you go through. Otherwise, you will have done something and you're not going to be able to participate in the discussion until other folks come in. So try and keep up with the schedule as best as you can. So there are the discussion boards, and that's more of a description of that. Again, if you have any questions on any of this, please just let me know. So we're going to be doing a group activity for 50 points of the final grade. The course itself has one major group report where I essentially assign you a hypothetical country, and you'll get that pretty early in the semester. I should have that posted within the next few days so you can know what you're going to be looking at. But I will assign you groups for the group activity. I will assign some students, well, I'll actually let you pick like your top 3. Do you want to do goals and curricula? Do you want to do structure? Do you want to do staffing or accountability? You'll sign up for one particular role, and then I'll put all of the people that get assigned a particular role into a group, and you'll be communicating with that group for the second portion of the class's materials. This probably sounds a little confusing right now, but we'll keep going more into it as we get further in the semester, and I'll give more descriptors of all of this stuff. But essentially, you'll have 4 students assigned to each portion here, and you're going to be doing a 2 to 3 page group paper where you essentially are going to create either goals and curricula or staffing practices, depending on your group, for the hypothetical country that you've been assigned. So if you go through here, each group should produce a 2 to 3 page document that outlines what practices and policies that you're going to implement for that particular portion of your system. So this group activity, you're going to be assigned to that group, and then you're just going to create a 2 to 3 page document where you discuss what practices that you would institute for your particular role. And then what I will do is, based on your role, I will assign you to another group for the 100-point major group report. The written portion is going to cover 90 points. Really what we're doing here is trying to let you put everything to work so that you can apply all of the stuff that you've been learning and thinking about all the complexities it takes to create a system of education. So again, you're going to be getting a hypothetical country that I'll give you the context, and I'll tell you about some of the major issues that you're facing. And it's up to you to develop a system of education within your group to address the major issues that your particular country is trying to correct. So there's going to be some things that you'll be thinking about, and this is going to be for a developing nation, and you'll see that more when I get down to the schedule. But so what that means is, whatever role that you took on for the group activity, say you were in a role of structure, then you'll be the resident expert on the structure portion, and you'll be sort of organizing all of the practices for that particular role within your larger group for the last major assignment of the course. So I'll tell us more about this as we move forward, but just know that this is the last culminating project where you're creating a system of education for an assigned hypothetical developing nation. Just know that that's sort of on the horizon. These are going to be 10 to 12 pages. Typically what students do is they'll do maybe around 2 pages for each portion. And divvy it out that way, and they'll do it separately but put it all together and have one person edit and just make sure everything is all put together. And then as part of the course too, there's a 10-point individual contribution. We've instituted this to sort of create a mechanism of quality control and to make sure that everybody is participating. I know some students don't like group work just because, you know, 1 or 2 students end up doing a lot of the work and everybody else just takes the back seat. Know that I'm going to be able to tell how much you're participating via the discussion boards in Blackboard. And then you're also going to get to assess everyone else's participation and contribution. So it's really important that everybody participates fully and equally in the development of this product. So here is the tentative schedule. These are the set modules that I have outlined in Blackboard. I had dates right here. I'll add those dates right here for this global superstructure. The way I've done this is to recreate the modules that are listed in Blackboard. The contents in the lecture, these are going to be the titles of each of the lectures and the ones that you're going to have to look at. Readings and activities. So for this first one, the globalization of education, there's a text embedded in the first lecture. That's this global perspective on educational change. So you don't need to access that via Blackboard, but you will need to read chapter 1 of the globalization of education. And then over here are going to be all of your assignments and due dates. So I labeled it DB1. This is your introductions in Ed Bio. Your original response to this is due 11:59 p.m. June 3rd. I think I mentioned in this might get changed and I'll have to let you know how we're going to do this. As a matter of fact, let's make this June 4th, and then you can respond by June 6th. I think in the lesson I say it's June 5th. I apologize for that. I had my dates off. But I'll update it and I'll alert you to how it's changed in the announcement section. But you can see that this is the module. This is the lecture that you'll want to access. These are the readings, and then this is the assignment. So I tried to number it so you know what's expected. Next week, so this week is starting Monday. I think the first class starts June 2nd. So the first thing is due here, and then you'll jump into all of this next stuff. So this is all Joel Spring right here. So you'll need to make sure that you access that. And the discussion board will be posted, and then you'll have the examination due, and then we'll do developed nations, and then we'll do developing and underdeveloped nations. And again, I'll go into that more. And all of the readings for the second portion of the class are going to come from Blackboard itself, so you don't have to buy a separate textbook. Now, as I mentioned before, to create a good study and work schedule, I've divided all of this out. We're going to switch this. I'll change this a little bit too. We're going to divide all of this out per a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 1.5 hour course. So I tried to divvy it up based on that. I tried not to give you more than one discussion board due in a week or more than one assignment due in a week. You know, this is a summer course, so it's going to be a lot of stuff in a shorter amount of time. So you're going to have to devote probably a lot more effort into some of these areas. So you'll see that as we go through. But all of this stuff should be posted. And this is just your proposed study schedule if you want to, you know, get into that good habit of daily activity. So there is that. And if you keep going down, I have here a distribution of all of the points that you're going to have. And this is the rubric for the major report, which we'll go over more in the lectures and in some other announcements. So you'll see how that is all generated. I'm going to go back to the Blackboard site so that you can see a little bit more. Again, course materials. This is where you're going to find all the modules. So the Welcome and Introduction has links to all of that stuff, just basic information that you'll need to know. If you go into one of the specific modules, and you'll see that I'm still populating this, but I wanted to go ahead and get it to you so you can start thinking about how you're going to approach the semester and how you're going to make sure that you get everything done and how you're going to be using the site. But if you go into the specific modules, you should have everything that you need right there. So I give you a link to the first discussion board, and that's going to be due that first week, as well as provide you with the lectures. So you'll need to make sure that you do the reading for that. This is going to be based on Chapter 1, Globalization of Education lectures. I divided it into Part 1 and Part 2. These are going to be based on Chapter 1 as well. I don't always recreate everything from the readings in the lectures. So you'll see that, you know, you're not going to be able to do one and not the other. You'll have to do the readings as well as watch the lectures in order to be successful, because I'm going to pull from both of those in my assessments of your stuff. So, but here's the discussion board. You can just go to this, create a thread, and that's where you can title it and then answer some of these questions and keep to that discussion board thing, and I'll go back and engage with you as you do that as well. And then the lessons themselves, you can just click here and it should give you access. I'm going to pause it just because it already has the voiceover here. I use a
Hi everyone.
See there, you can
Today's
hear
lesson
that. So that's the lecture there. You should be able to access that. I record this on a Mac. That's what I use. I tried it on my Windows and I didn't have any trouble. If you do have trouble accessing the lectures, you need to let me know right away, or probably post a question on the Q&A portion, just to make sure that you can access everything that you'll need to access, because you will need these. But I think that's pretty much it. You'll be able to find your grades here. If you go into the Grade Center, it should have everything that you need. Obviously, this is my view here, but you'll have the midterm here, the final exam. This is going to be for the multiple choice questions right here, and that'll go live, like I said, 48 hours before the due date. Discussion board 1, discussion board 2, discussion board 3, discussion board 4, examination 1 essay. This is where you'll go and you'll upload it to SafeAssign. I haven't put in the midterm or the examination 2 essay portion, but that'll be up there as well, so you should be able to access that. And that's pretty much everything for the course. I think that should have everything. If you want to access just the discussion board by itself, you can go to Tools over here and go down to the discussion board, and you will see all of the questions here. One thing I want to point out, because the second portion of the course, we're going to be working with developed nations for this one right here, and developing nations for this one right here, you're going to get assigned a small group that you'll be engaging with. So know that this will change and you'll be assigned to that group. The way I've done it is, you know, because you're going to be doing that group activity where you're going to create specific practices for the role that you're going to sign up for within your small group, then I assign you that small group for the discussion board so that you can engage with them and have that conversation and think about how you might take the practices or policies from some of the countries that we're going to be looking at for developed nations, how you might use those to develop practices and policies for your assigned country, context, and role. And then I'm going to do the same thing with discussion board 4. I'll assign you a group to talk in for your discussion board so that you can, again, think about how the practices and policies for the developing nations might figure into your group report. So, and that's why, again, it's so important that you keep coming back, because this is going to be how you're going to communicate and how you're going to discuss what practices and policies that you want to implement for your particular country. So that's going to be pretty essential. Other than that, this is pretty much the how-to for how to navigate the class. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to just shoot me an email or post here in the question and answer section, and I'll try and address that. And if there's any announcement that I need to deliver, this is where I will do that. So I'm excited to work with you guys. I think it'll be a really fun semester, and I think we'll do some really neat stuff. So thanks for your time, and just let me know if you have any questions. Thanks. Bye-bye.